Hey everybody, how's it going? It's me, Elf, and today we are going to be working on a new drawing video. So, a couple of months ago, I started playing this little MMORPG called Black Desert Online. It has a huge fantasy world, awesome combat, as well as tons of character classes and customization. All in all, it's my kind of game. I love it. It's so much fun. I'm only 2 months in, and it's so great. I've already spent way too much time in it. Alright, so a quick note before we start the drawing. I am very, very new at digital art, and this is also the first time I've ever tried commentary for a video. So lots of firsts. Just be patient with me, and if you have any advice to give a fellow artist, please let me know in the comments. I need as much feedback as possible. Thank you. So let's get started, shall we? So here I am sketching kind of just the basic shapes of the character. Just trying to get a feel for where everything goes. Alright, so now for the second layer. So this sketching layer is a little more in detail. Well, actually a lot more. I'm actually just filling in basically everything. In this stage, I'm free to kind of move things around and mess with them as I see fit. I do that a couple times here, with the hair and with the kind of like sash thing on her arm, as well as her other sleeve. I kind of moved them to the side a bit. They weren't like that in the original photo. And I did that to give it a little bit more movement and to make the picture look a little bit more dynamic, and I think it turned out really well. So I actually am not used to sketching. It was never something I did growing up, and so now I'm an adult and I have to like basically teach myself how to do it. It can definitely be frustrating. I'm not the best with human anatomy yet, which is why I've been relying so much on the reference picture. My goal though eventually is to be able to draw poses and stuff on my own, and not so much not using reference photos, but not having to rely on them so heavily. One of my goals with the series and with drawing each of my characters is to see how far I can come and how much I can kind of change them and make them better and improve on the things that I struggled with the previous one. The sleeve here was actually a lot of fun to sketch. I kind of struggle a bit when it comes to fabric folds, but I don't know, just like, this part was really satisfying, and I like how I got the kind of flowing effect on the draped down part. Alright, so now we're on to the line work. I don't know, some people hate line work, but I absolutely love it. I think it's so much fun. I've been really working on getting like more line variation, like the thicker and thinner. It definitely looks more interesting when you like see it being done, and it makes a huge difference in like the overall product. I know one thing I definitely need to work on is sometimes, especially with like lines that have to be like really neat, like long straight lines or like specifically curved lines, I have a really hard time keeping them, well, neat looking. My hand wobbles, or I think it's just something that needs work and practice, but I'll get there eventually. So this piece with the hair right here, I realized as I was inking it that it just didn't look right, and it took me forever to get it figured out, but here we go. Now it looks a little better. So drawing these clouds is a lot of fun, not gonna lie. I had a good time with those. Alright, so we're on to the base colors. There's nothing too interesting about this part. It's mostly just putting down flat colors so I can work up with the shading. So I figured maybe I'd talk a little bit about my character. So this is my main character. So in Black Desert you can make multiple characters. And so my main is a Lahn named Aldanil. Aldanil is actually an Elvish name. All of my characters have Elvish names. And it actually means tree lover. It wasn't the original name I picked for her, but with how Black Desert works, the naming, you can only have like one character with that name, so you can't have any duplicates. So there were other people with Elvish names, and this is the first one that worked. I actually really like it though. I thought it was really pretty. So it was kind of just a happy coincidence. Lahns are really fun to fight with. It's rather simple. Her weapon is really different. It's called a crescent pendulum. It's kind of like a blade that's on the end of that fabric on her arm that she swings around. And she also has this thing called a noble sword, which almost looks a bit like a rapier. And then for her awakening weapon, she has crimson crescent blades. And they're like these big, long swords on chains that she can kind of swing around, and the combat's so much fun, and it's so, like, satisfying. Like, the Lahn isn't the most complicated class to play in comparison to, like, a witch, but it's just still so much fun. So I actually make a mistake in just a little bit. I sat down after I finished this sleeve here, and to start recording the shading, and I realized after like an hour that I forgot to record right here. Yeah. I didn't do anything too complicated, thankfully. I started with a gradient over the sleeve, with a lighter yellow on top and a darker orangish red on the bottom, and then I made a multiply layer and started filling in the shadows where the folds of the fabric are and stuff. And that's what I'm working on now. I realized after after like an hour of drawing that I messed up. I think I did it again too with the dress. With shading the dress. That one wasn't... I don't know. I guess it wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't make some sort of stupid mistake. So I guess we have it out of the way. We're good to go now. So now I've just made another multiply layer, and I'm just adding like a little bit more, shadow to it. hindsight, I feel like I probably should have made that a little bit darker, but, you know, it looks good. Alright, so when it came to shading the skin, I started first with mostly soft shading, kind of contouring the face a little bit. And then later on I go in with some harder shadows. The nose. I don't know what it is about noses, but I struggle so much with them. I don't know how to draw them yet. And like the nostrils give me so many problems. Just don't look at it too hard. It's fine. Yeah, so here, like, the dress is suddenly shaded. My bad. Alright, so in the picture it's kind of hard to tell, but her hair is actually ombre, so like it's green, but then at the bottom it's mostly brown. And then here I'm starting to shade. It took me a few attempts before I finally found something that I was okay with. I think one of the things I definitely have to work on is getting better at knowing when to use soft shading and when to use hard shading. I tend to over airbrush all my shadows and then it kind of looks weird. I've been watching a lot of artists on YouTube that I like and trying to understand how they do it. But I think it's one of those things that's just going to come with time and practice. And see here I kind of find something that works. I don't know if it's just the way... I don't know, I just... Again, I need to like keep watching it and figure out what I'm doing. I don't know about wrong, but just... I wasn't completely satisfied with how the hair turned out. But it did look better than the first few attempts. Alright, yeah, so here I add more hard shadows to the face because I just felt like it was too rendered-ish, if that makes any sense. So here I tried adding a little bit of purple to the sleeve. A lot of artists that I watch, they kind of add hues of different colors to their shading, and I thought I'd give it a try. I don't know how obvious it is, but I did think it made it look a little bit better. And here we have the kind of armor pieces on her arm and shoulder. I don't know, it's always hit or miss with me when it comes to like metal or like metallic objects. I either get them looking like pretty good or just absolutely terrible, and I think it looked pretty good in this one. I think I got it to look okay. So here I'm trying to add a little bit of what's called rim light and bounce light. So rim light is like the light that comes off of you or shines onto you, and then bounce light is the light that bounces up from other objects and it usually has like a bluish tint to it. Don't know how much it added, but I thought it looked nice. So here we're finally coloring in the sleeve. I did that last because I wanted it to kind of be a little bit see-through. And now we're working on the background. So it took me forever to figure out what I wanted to do. Eventually I decided that I would use the symbol for the lawn, which is kind of like a stylized version of her crescent pendulum. I was kind of looking at like the trading cards on Steam that they have for the characters, and I kind of liked how they had their weapon in the background. And it was almost kind of like I'm making my own personal trading card. Almost, in a way. That was kind of the thought behind it. Alright, yeah, so it took a long time to figure out what I wanted. There's a lot of changing colors and opacities and layer modes until I finally found something that worked. Tried some highlights in the hair. Didn't really work out. So here I'm just adding a few extra little strands of hair to kind of, again, give it just more of a feel of like it blowing. And I shaded the armpit because I just felt like it looked weird. And then I felt like the background was too flat, so I added that kind of textured brush to it. And here is the finished piece. I'm really proud of how this turned out. It can be really hard to want to draw and make videos because I never really feel like I'm good enough to be sharing them. But with everything that's been going on in the world with COVID-19, I wanted to make the most of this time and challenge myself to grow and improve as an artist and, well, I guess just as a person. Well, I was definitely challenged, but I believe I definitely improved, and I had a lot of fun. I'm really glad I did this. I'm also super excited to start working on the next character. I wonder what class it's gonna be. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay healthy, stay safe, and have a wonderful day. Bye!